Dear Aries, if you're hearing this today, it's not by coincidence. Perhaps this is the sacred calling your soul has been waiting for a very long time. Not everyone gets called by God in a crowd. Some souls are called through the quiet breaking that happens right inside their own home. And if recently you felt an invisible force pulling you away from those you once held most dear, then know this: God is calling you. Aries, He is leading you out of the place you once called home. In this video, I will share with you a sacred truth. Not every separation is a punishment. Some of them are the path that leads your soul back to where heaven always intended you to be. Write this beneath the video as both a declaration and a prayer. I am ready to be received by heaven. Because that phrase is the password to unlock the gate you've been knocking on for so long. And if what you're hearing right now touches something deep inside you, don't hesitate. Leave a like. Share this video like a small light in the night, because maybe it will find someone who's trembling in the dark, just as you once were. Take a deep breath, because what's about to be revealed won't just be a story, but a wound you buried long ago. And it may also be the very place where the first miracle begins to enter. But it needs to be spoken aloud. There's something few people dare to say. Not every family is where love truly begins. And for many Aries, this isn't just an idea, but a silent truth that has followed you since childhood. You've lost count of how many times you felt like a burning red flame trapped in a cold room with those who refused to look directly at the light. I know, it's not easy to accept, because from the moment we're born, we're taught that family is sacred, the place of final refuge. But if you are Aries, a soul illuminated by Mars, the planet of action, instinct, and breakthrough, then perhaps you were never meant to remain quietly in that nest. I want you to recall the first time you were scolded for being too loud, the moment you voiced a bold idea, and all you received in return was silence, cold stares, or rejection. The time you stood up for what was right, but were called rebellious, stubborn, or hard to handle. Not because you were wrong, but because the light inside you was too radiant. And some places, even the ones called family, were never ready to receive that kind of light. There are Aries souls who were sent into families that never learned how to love a strong spirit. And you, the one listening to this video, might be one of them. But listen to me, you are not a flaw in the system. You are the first upgrade. And of course, that will cause conflict. Not every family is a place of safety, and that does not make you less worthy of love. On the contrary, if you dare to look into the wound that formed in the place once called home, you're opening up a healing journey, not just for yourself, but for the generations who never had a voice. Maybe you once made yourself smaller, just to fit into a mold that was never meant for you. Maybe you once hid what you truly believed, just to stay in a place that called itself home. And maybe you once cried in silence, in a quiet room, because the ones who misunderstood you weren't the world, but your own kin. So why you? Why was Aries given this heavy role to be the different one, the troublemaker, the one who doesn't fit in their own family? Let me tell you something from astrology. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. You are the pioneer soul, the one who breaks the trail, the one entrusted to burn down the old so the new can begin. And sometimes, that old is the system of beliefs inside a family that's frozen in fear, control, or outdated expectations. In the birth charts of many Aries I've seen, there's Chiron, the wounded healer, placed in the 4th house, the house of family, roots, and childhood emotion. That's no coincidence. It's a sign that family was never the place meant to soothe you, but the place meant to activate you. The wound wasn't placed there to weaken you. It was placed there to forge you into a light that learns how to rise and lead the way. If these words are stirring something in your memory, if you're beginning to realize why you've always felt like you didn't belong, write this down. I am healing and remembering my original light, because only when you speak it, the energy of awakening can truly begin. The universe cannot hear what you hide in your heart, but it can hear what you dare to admit. And if I may share something from my From my own journey, as an astrologer who has listened to many people broken by wounds from family, this always remains true. No one has the right to define you, even if they were the ones who gave you life. They may have brought you into this world, but your light is your own. And no one, not even blood, has the right to extinguish it. Have you ever felt like the strange child in your family? Have you ever wondered if something was wrong with you, just because you think differently, feel differently, live differently? If the answer is yes, leave a comment below. Not just for me to read, but so that someone like you, someone quietly searching for resonance, might find you in a sea of words. And now, you know, you are Aries. You didn't come here to stay silent. You came to ignite change. Even if that means you have to leave the first safe place of your life, your family. That cut hurts, but it is a sacred cut. Because only when the blood spills, the soul wakes up. But if you think God is just standing by watching you suffer, then you don't yet understand His love. He is never late. He is simply waiting for you to be strong enough to follow the calling. And if you're starting to feel something shifting around you, if your dreams are becoming strange and there's a stirring in your heart to walk away, then buckle up. Because next, you'll begin to understand. Chiron is waking you, and there is a reason God is quietly clearing the path for your exit. Sometimes, not every calling is loud in the daylight. Some callings come in silence, in the middle of nights where you toss and turn beneath memories no one else knows. Within questions no one dares answer, within the slow fading of your spirit inside the very home that was supposed to protect you. And if you, Aries, are feeling this right now, know that it's not your imagination. It's a signal from the universe, a quiet whisper from the stars saying, the time has come. Chiron, the wound of the soul, is currently moving through your fourth house, the house of family, roots, and childhood memories. And every time Chiron passes through this house, it doesn't destroy. It awakens. It stirs up all that you once folded away, all that you buried, just to survive. But now, you are no longer meant to merely survive. You are meant to live. And to truly live, your soul must be rescued from the place where it was once frozen. You might ask, but why the family? Why does the deepest pain have to come from the place I once believed was sacred? And I want you to hear this. Like a whisper from heaven, God did not rescue you from your family because He hated them. He did it because He loves you too much to watch you wither in silence. He saw the smile you forced at the family dinner table. He heard the sighs you held back in the bathroom at night. He knows how hard you tried to still be the good child, the dutiful daughter, the quiet grandchild. But your soul wasn't born to perform. It was born to be real, to shine. And that is why your leaving is not betrayal. No, it is the highest act of loyalty to your divine nature. I know you've blamed yourself. You've asked, am I ungrateful? Am I wrong for feeling distant from the people I'm supposed to be close to? But the truth is, loving yourself sometimes means having the courage to walk away from those who no longer love you in the right way. Spiritual freedom is not something you're given. It's something you must choose. Even if that choice puts distance between you and those tied to you by blood. And in that moment when you choose to be honest with your soul, you are not breaking anything. You are clearing a path. You, an Aries, are taking the first step in lighting the way for your entire bloodline. True love does not ask you to stay silent. It doesn't ask you to clip your wings just to fit into a tiny room called family. And if the love in your household ever made you shrink, then it was not the love that God created. If you're in the middle of a silent journey, one where you've had to keep your distance even though your heart still aches, write this down. I'm learning to choose myself, even while my heart still drips with tears. And if you're ready, share your story. Not to complain, but to connect, because someone out there is living your same story. And maybe the words you write will be the first light they've seen in years. I used to think growing up meant learning to forgive my family. But now I understand. Growing up means standing up and choosing myself, even if that means walking away from the one I once loved the most. And now, if you're still here, still listening, I want to leave you with this final truth. When you walk away, the wound doesn't close right away, but the gate opens. And from that gate, something higher, deeper, and more sacred is already on its way to meet you. You'll come to see, when you say, enough, heaven starts saying, it's time. And the place you thought you were leaving everything behind might just be the place where your true soul family finally finds you. There are people who won't just love you, they'll see you, not just stand beside you, but walk with you toward your destiny. Some invitations don't come in the sound of music. Some callings are never spoken by family. They arrive quietly. In the middle of nights you can't sleep, when the light inside your heart keeps whispering, this place is no longer yours. And if you, an Aries, are standing in that very moment, please don't be afraid, because this isn't a breakdown. It's a calling, a sacred summoning. Do you remember the story of Abraham? A man called by God to leave his homeland, to walk away from everything familiar and journey toward a land no one had ever seen, guided only by a promise. No map, no guarantees, only one thing, faith. And today, if you feel like you're being pushed away from the place once called home, maybe you are a modern-day Abraham, a soul being called forth, not by your feet, but by your spirit. I believe this. Light doesn't need permission to shine. It only needs space. And you, Aries, born with the blazing energy of a pioneer, were never meant to live tucked away. You are the tip of destiny's arrow, the first to walk through the door your entire bloodline never dared to approach. So if you feel lonely, know this, you're not being left behind. You're just walking ahead. Sometimes separation isn't the failure of love. It's a divine cycle, a sacred unraveling that lets your soul return to the form heaven originally wrote for you. Like a butterfly that must first break the cocoon to fly toward the sun. You're not abandoning anyone. You're simply returning to yourself, the version heaven designed long before you were born. Yes, you may have felt guilty. You may have cried in silence, thinking you've disappointed your family. But ask yourself this, is a flower wrong for blooming in a place where no one watered it? Or was it simply born to seek the sun? If you're hearing this now and it feels like I'm giving voice to something you've never dared to say, then maybe this is your moment to pause and write one thing for yourself. I'm being called, and I don't need anyone's approval for this journey. Are you standing at the edge of a decision you can't explain to anyone in your family because they won't understand, or worse, they'll try to stop you? If so, leave a message below. Write not to ask for permission, but to confirm with yourself. I heard the call, and I'm going. Because writing is a sacred act, and every time you dare to affirm your path, you step 1 inch closer to your own light. When Mars, your ruling planet, forms a trine with Chiron, it activates a unique push from within. Not to fight others, but to rescue yourself from the wrong role in an old script. This is the moment where personal will meet soul destiny. You're no longer fighting to prove, you're moving to come home. And then, along this journey, in the dark, in the loneliness, in those nights when it feels like no one is there, someone will appear. Not as a sudden miracle, but as a response to the soul signal you sent long ago. A person or a soul will come. They will see you, they will understand you, and they will say, I know you, because I've been you. And now, you're about to see more clearly who this person is. Not of your blood, but of your spirit. The one heaven has been keeping for you since the very beginning. They're not here to replace anyone. They've come to heal the spaces no one else could ever reach. Sometimes, blood relatives don't make you feel like you belong. And then, a stranger appears. No shared DNA, no shared childhood, no knowledge of your past. And yet, somehow they understand you from the very first look. They don't ask you to explain. They don't love you for the role you used to play. They love you for the real light within you. And you know what? When that happens, it's not random. It's a miracle from the universe. A gift, carefully wrapped, sent exactly when you thought you were about to break in loneliness. I once believed family is forever. But time taught me this. Not everyone born under the same roof will walk beside you until the end. Blood is not always the strongest bond. The soul is what leads us to true connection. And sometimes your real family doesn't come from where you were born, but from where you were reborn. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, meaning, and truth, is now moving through your 11th house, Aries, the house of soul, friendships, community, and relationships beyond personal definitions. When Jupiter touches this realm, you begin to meet people not arranged by logic, but orchestrated by destiny. Family isn't a place where you have to be worthy to be loved. Family is where you are loved, even when you are nothing yet. It's where you can cry without needing to say, "I'm fine." Where you don't have to hide your light or your wounds, because the person beside you has walked through their own darkness too. A hug from a stranger can heal wounds that your family never even noticed. Because that hug doesn't come from duty. It comes from soul recognition, where no reason is needed to love. And you know what's the most beautiful part? When these new people arrive, they don't burst into your life with noise. They just quietly stay. They stay when you have nothing left to give. They stay even when you push them away out of fear. They stay when everyone else has gone. Do you remember who was the first person who made you feel understood after you left your old family? Not understood in the sense of giving advice after listening, but the kind of understanding where they just look at you and know you're in pain. They sit beside you and never ask you to speak. If you've met someone like that, write their name or a message of thanks in the comments below this video. Because maybe they need to hear it. Or maybe what you write will be a light of hope for someone still searching for their real family. Maybe you grew up in a home without comfort. But that doesn't mean you're destined to live in loneliness, because heaven never leaves a blazing soul like yours alone for too long. And you know what? That new family is only the beginning, because something even more sacred is waiting just ahead. A moment no one expects when what you lost is returned in ways beyond your imagination. A reunion, a divine touch, a message, a look, a fated encounter between you and the one you once loved deeply, but had to let go. Healing doesn't stop at the present. It opens a gate where even the relationships you thought were over are being restored. And this time, you won't walk alone. There are things we once thought we couldn't live without, but when we finally let go, we realize that very thing was what kept our soul in chains. Letting go isn't weakness. It's the moment you become strong enough to stop pretending you're okay in a place that no longer fits your light. I used to think that perseverance was a sign of maturity, until I realized true maturity is when you dare to rise and walk away from the places that wear your heart down day by day. Every step away from fear is a step toward destiny. Not a destiny written by others, but the one heaven placed inside you from the very beginning. There's one thing every healing soul must understand. God never takes without giving back. Every loss is a foundation. Every ending is an invitation to something more miraculous. But miracles cannot enter if you keep clinging to what's already gone. You can't carry the entire past with you, and you can't fly far if you keep holding on to the ones who broke your wings. Walking away from what no longer fits is not betrayal. It is the deepest act of self-love, because you deserve the chance to grow, to breathe, to be happy, without needing anyone's permission. The deepest wound is where the first light enters. And you are the one who allowed that light to pass through you, through the very pain you once thought would destroy you. Maybe you didn't realize it, but the moment you dared to walk away, the universe began to rearrange everything around you. The doors that closed weren't punishment, they were protection. They were closing off things no longer aligned with your soul's new frequency. If you've ever had to part from your family, not out of hatred, but because you had to choose yourself, share your story. Even just one sentence from you could be the light that saves someone standing at a crossroads right now. They need to know they're not alone. They need to see you, a soul that survived and is now rising in radiant rebirth. Write this down. I let go so I could live in alignment with my soul. No one truly leaves you. Those who can't walk further with you were simply souls who had finished their role in your journey. And sometimes their departure is exactly how God clears the path for you to return to your truest self. You cross the darkness like an unextinguished flame, and now, as the dawn breaks, you are no longer who you were. You are a soul that has been marked, an Aries called by God, not to live quietly, but to live boldly. But this journey isn't over. Because something bigger is coming, closer than you think, something God and the universe have been preparing to return to you, not as a reward, but as a recognition, a divine confirmation that you have been brave enough, bright enough, and true enough to your soul. You will finally hear something no one ever told you, that your soul, since the beginning, was marked to be a pioneer. And now, you are no longer walking alone, because you are ready, and heaven has seen it. Dear Aries, if you've stayed with me until this final moment, I want you to know something deeply. You didn't come here just to survive. You came here to live truthfully, to live divinely. You were never lost. Every wound you carry, every tear you swallowed, is proof that you dared to live fully in your soul's truth, even when it meant walking alone, even when it meant leaving behind what once felt like home. Thank you for not clicking away in the middle of this video, for not shutting your heart when I touched your old wounds. Thank you for being brave enough to face your memories, and even braver, to choose healing. Not everyone makes it this far. Only the souls marked by God can feel this message this deeply. And if you're crying, let me tell you, you're not weak. You are being reborn. If you truly feel that you've heard the voice of heaven, if your heart is opening to a new chapter in destiny, write down below this video, I have been received by God, and I will not turn back. Not for me to see, but so your soul remembers, because that sentence is the sacred declaration that unlocks your next divine chapter. They may never say it, but someone out there needs a light. And you may be the one holding that light. Like, share, and subscribe if you want to keep receiving sacred messages like this one. We're creating a community together, not just of astrology lovers, but of awakened souls. You are not abandoned, you are chosen, you are guided, and from this moment on, you don't have to walk alone anymore. See you in the next journey, where we'll keep unlocking soul secrets and receiving the miracles that God and the cosmos have written especially for Aries. I am your companion, and I truly believe the most beautiful things are still on their way to you.